my Simba Mattress review. Now, I'm going to start by talking about something I mentioned in my unboxing review, and that was I've got the new version. And how do I know I've got the new version? Is because I did have a Simba in 2016, so I did take the cover off, I did measure it, I've got the pictures to prove it. It was 4 centimeters latex, 2 centimeters micro coils, 3 centimeters memory foam, 16 centimeters base layer. It was before I started taking reviews seriously. It was a mattress I sent back. I did do a video on it, but it was pretty poor. It's one of the mattresses people keep asking about. So I thought, right, maybe I'll get it again. I'll keep it this time and I can do proper comparisons with the other mattresses. It is something people are interested about. Seems to be one of the main ones out there. I had a look at the website. Blow me, I can see they've got a new version. I'm getting excited. New version, I can do a new review and it will be updated because the new version is 3.5 centimeters memory foam as opposed to the old version, which was 3 centimeters memory foam. Base layer on the new version, 15.5 centimeters as opposed to 16 centimeters on the old version. Seemed pretty straightforward. So I got my new mattress, told everybody on my unboxing, I got the new version. I was pretty excited. When I took the cover off, after the unboxing, I went to measure it. I realized it was actually the same specs as the old version. So it wasn't 3.5 centimeters as the website says, it was 3 centimeters. And it wasn't 15.5 centimeters on the base layer, it was 16 centimeters as in the old version. So I thought that's funny. Now I check in other websites, namely John Lewis, looking at what specs they've got. They're still advertising the old specs. Now notice I am saying old specs, new specs. Turned out it wasn't that straightforward. The first time I got the mattress, measured it, went on to their support. There's a problem here, I've got the old specs. They said, let us check it out, we'll see what we can do. The guy came back to me and said, he's had a chat with the relevant department. My mattress seems to be the old specs because the new one should be 3.5 centimeters. But as I already mentioned, the measurements as per their website. They replaced it, that's why I've got 2 boxes. Yes, you guessed it. The second one was the same measurements as the first one. So now I'm thinking, well, maybe the website's wrong. So now I want to know, I mean, I know I can send it back, and I don't want to get it replaced again with exactly the same version. So I'm trying to clarify, is there a new version? And I'll have to say, what seems like a simple question, I'm none the wiser. Been going backwards and forwards for a couple of weeks. The support staff saying yes, they need to clarify it as well. I'm pointing out John Lewis still show different specifications to the website. One of those websites must be wrong. Your website says it should be certain measurements, and the 2 mattresses that I'm getting are different measurements. If there is, look, it doesn't really matter, but I want to, if there's a new version coming out, I want to do a review on the newest version. Otherwise, you know, I'm going to pay this money for the Simba, which I'm going to keep, you know, because I'm doing comparisons. I don't want to be keeping a version that next month is kind of out of date. I'm going to have to review it again. So I'm trying to get clarification, and I have to say, it's not happening. Nobody will, you think all they've got to say is, this website's right, that website's right. No, and I'll tell you what, the last reply was. The last reply I got, now, look, they are trying to be helpful, and I've got to say, you know, the support staff are stuck in the middle because they don't really know what's coming from the factories. They don't know what's happening with the production team, and they have to just keep passing messages. However, how it's been left now is they told me, I have been informed that there is a tolerance of plus or minus 1 centimeter in the height of each layer. And the industry tolerance levels allow +2 and -2 centimeters difference of the standard industry measurements of foam products. This is kind of Chinese whispers because, first of all, it defies all logic, isn't it, to say each layer has a tolerance of plus or minus 1 centimeter. First of all, every mattress I've ever had is spot on to what the measurements are. So there really isn't much of a tolerance there. And it certainly wouldn't be like the 30% that they're saying if they're talking about the layer for the memory foam. However, they're saying for each layer, even like in a 2 centimeter layer. So I know that's not right. I don't know why they've said that. However, maybe there's miscommunication. They're saying that memory foam could be 2.5 or 4.5. I know that's not true. I know the depth of the layers are pretty much spot on within a tolerance of millimeters, not centimeters. So no commitment there. And this industry standard +2, -2 centimeters is not for each layer in the foam, it's for the length and the width. So for instance, EU single should be 90 centimeters wide, 200 centimeters long. But the industry standard tolerance would be plus or minus 2. So it wouldn't be a defect if it was 200 centimeters long or 198 centimeters long when you're buying something that says 200 centimeters. Of course there's a tolerance. The tolerance is going to be a small percentage. It's not 30%, and it's not plus or minus 1 centimeter on a 3.7. And I've emailed back twice, not had a reply. I may get a reply again, but I have to say, it's kind of missing the point. It's really straightforward, isn't it? Which website is right, John Lewis or the Simba website? I genuinely want to know. I've genuinely bought the Simba mattress. I'm not going to send it back. I am going to keep it. I genuinely want to know if there is another version, and if there is, the one that was advertised, I'd like to have it, because I'm trying to put some information out there, and it won't be entirely accurate if actually there's a different mattress. Now, they do all come with packing labels. And although when you order, I have to say, a really nice ordering process, you get a 2-man team that delivers to a room of your choice. Other companies, it's to your main door. You could be in a block of flats downstairs, and you could be like 10 floors up. They do stay a 2-man team, so no problem carrying it, and to a room of your choice. That's really good. And you order it, you can get there's a cut-off point, but order early, you get it the next day. That's great. However, the packing labels have a delivery date on them, and that's like, I think on the first one it was like 4 weeks out, and the last one I got was like 2 or 3 weeks before that. So it's not like they're packed the day before. There is a storage date, so maybe the website has updated early, and the next run of mattresses is going to be this new spec. I don't know, maybe there is no new spec. However, I did tell everybody in the first unboxing video that I've got the new spec. I genuinely believe that, because I read it on the website. So I'm putting it out there that it's possible that there is no new specification, and what it says on the website is not actually what they are produced to. I'm hesitating to say it's wrong, because they are claiming there's a +1 or -1 centimeter tolerance, as far as they're concerned, on each layer. Now, I know there's a miscommunication, because they went on to say that the industry standard is +2 and -2. What, on a 2 centimeter layer? I know that's not true. I know the industry standard for a mattress is in terms of length and width. I did tell them that, and I followed up twice. I haven't had a reply. I hope I get a reply. I just want to know, is there a new spec? Should it be what John Lewis say, or should it be what Simba say? And I have to say, it's not just the actual size of that memory foam layer. John Lewis actually had that as spec'd at 55 kilos per cubic meter, and Simba's had it at 50 kilos per cubic meter. So there's a difference in the actual specifications. So one of those is right, one of those is wrong. It probably, even right or wrong, it probably doesn't even affect the mattress that much. It's just that I have bought it. It's not particularly that cheap, and I am going to keep it. That's my intention. And if there's one that's advertised that I haven't got, I'm not saying that's a huge deal. I'm just saying, can I have the latest one? Just tell me. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, I just want to put it out there that from all the evidence I have at hand, I believed in the first mattress unboxing there was a new version, because the specs were different. However, it now looks as though it's very possible either they've jumped the gun with those specs and there's a new one coming out, or they're wrong. Or they really do have a high tolerance, but then why have John Lewis say one measurement and you have another, and even the density is different. Anyway, I'm just saying, I have tried very hard to get clarification on that, and that's where I am. Now, I'm going to get on with the Simba review as is, and that of course is as John Lewis has specified it. Simba Tex on the top, which is of course synthetic latex, is with those micro pocket springs underneath, conical pocket springs. And why conical is quite important here, because conical springs will collapse completely flat to the size of the actual gauge, because conical means one end is smaller than the other, so it's cone shaped. In the case of the Simba mattress, the smallest part of the cone is on top, so it collapses inside of each coil below it and will lie flat. And under that, of course, is 3 centimeters of memory foam and the base layer. Specific things to my Simba mattress. Who are Simba? Simba are a company called Simba Sleep, founded in 2015, started producing the mattress late 2016, with the unique selling point that latex patented conical pocket springs. Pocket springs meaning that's not like the old style coils where it's actually one actual wire, but in a series of coils. So if you push down on one, it affects the others. The point about pocket springs you push down, you're only affecting that. Now I say you're only affecting that, however, they are wrapped. Even full-size pocket springs will be glued together or joined together in some way, stitched, glued. However, so they're not completely disconnected. They do come joined in some way. However, they're not physically joined by a wire. And this is partly why the material they're wrapped in and how they're glued, it does have a bearing on the quality of those springs because it does all move in conjunction. However, at its most basic level, pocket springs move individually, and that's great. Don't confuse micro pocket springs with full-size pocket springs. Full-size pocket springs are, of course, for support. Will be low down the mattress. Micro coils, micro springs are there for the comfort layer, and they are higher up in the top layers for the comfort. So they're not there to be supportive. So sometimes I hear people say they put their hands on the coils, you try and squeeze it and it completely collapses, and what's the point of that? Well, they don't have a high resistance. They're there for comfort. However, the point being, they'll only collapse where your body is pressing down. And that really is the point. And they'll press down more where you're heavier. Now, if you're really heavy, there won't be a lot in it. You know, all of the surrounding micro springs will collapse down. But you'll still have the outer springs at full height, and you do get that contouring. So they do add benefits. I'll get to when I really talk about layers. However, they do say their unique configuration. There are other online mattresses that are advertising that do them. I'm just going to point out Hide and Sleep. Hide and Sleep have 2,000 micro springs, and the springs are always calculated on the king size. So if you have a smaller size, you'll have less springs. But for the benefit of comparison, springs are always calculated by how many springs in the king size. So they have 2,000 as opposed to the 2,500 in Simba. I have to say, actually, when Simba first came to the market, they had 2,000 conical springs. Very quickly, they upgraded that to 2,500 conical springs. Maybe because they wanted to stay ahead of the others, or maybe it was a complete redesign. I don't know, just pointing out that Hide and Sleep have 2,000. And incidentally, the other mattress that I was going to talk about, that's a hybrid being springs and foam. Emma also has 2,000 as opposed to 2,500. Now, does that make it automatically better? The difference there will be a lot of it to do with the gauge and the quality of the materials used to wrap them, but also depending on the feel you want. If you have more springs, and all things being equal, more springs will feel slightly firmer. There's more springs taking your weight, so that each spring is sharing more of your body weight, so will collapse a little bit less. Whether that makes any difference when they're micro coils and they're micro pocket springs and they're 2 centimeters high, I guess not. But generally speaking, it's not a straightforward, oh, more springs is better. Obviously, you want more than 2. Of course, the number is important. However, the balance is also important in firm, soft, how you feel, your actual size and weight, because obviously what you're talking about here is how much of your weight each individual spring takes. More springs, each individual spring will take less of your weight. It's shared. Theoretically, collapse slightly less, it will feel slightly firmer. Hide and Sleep have the springs under 3.8 centimeters of memory foam, whereas we're talking synthetic latex on paper is better. With Simba and with Emma, they've got 4 centimeters of polyfoam, and again, on paper, it could be thought of as inferior to Simba Tex. However, it's not a straightforward equation. You can only talk generally. So they're similar in that way. 2 centimeters of micro springs under polyfoam or memory foam or latex. It's nice that you've got a choice of all 3, and you can take your pick whether you think you want memory foam, polyfoam, latex. Each one will have different properties and will suit different people in a different way. Just pointing out there that when they say unique, their actual mattress, of course, is unique. It's a little bit different. This idea of hybrids using micro springs in the comfort layer, it's not totally unique in that sense. And again, going to keep pointing out, don't confuse micro pocket springs, which are used in the comfort layer, with full-size pocket springs as used in the Otti. I was going to point it out, but it's not there. It's because I'm sleeping on it. It has grown on me over time. I am sleeping on it at the moment. However, so getting on with who are Simba. Founders were James Cox and Andrew McClements. All seem like these young marketing whiz kids. However, the marketing does say they started in 1979 and been making mattresses ever since then, and they do make it like we. I have to say it's a little bit less straightforward than that. It was actually Andrew McClements' family that have been in the mattress business for that long. So obviously Simba Sleep started in 2015. However, the team bring previous experience with them. Simba Sleep has not been around since 1979. Just pointing that out. Simba is produced in the UK in Derby, But there's an additional thing on their website that actually says, all Simba mattresses are sourced and made in Europe. We work with well-known state-of-the-art mattress factories in the UK and Poland. That may sound slightly contradictory. However, I'm just pointing out that they say that as well as saying they're made outside Derby. Well, they do have a factory outside Derby. They are produced outside Derby. However, I guess this is a generic thing because they sell throughout Europe. They don't sell in the USA, but they do sell throughout Europe. So maybe that's generic in case it's on another geographical website. It's just going to get straight translated. Point out, you can try and buy Simba at John Lewis, Furniture Village and AIS independent retailers. Bizarrely, it's also sold on Ocado, no idea. And they also sell them through Argos. However, they're not the try and buy ones. So you can pop into John Lewis, for instance, and try it there. Always bear in mind, a lot of people have tried these mattresses. Normally, when you try it, it's going to feel softer than when you first get it. So just point it out there. You cannot lay on these mattresses and say, oh, that's how it feels. Because all foam mattresses will soften up from the day you start sleeping and carry on softening up. The degree to which they soften up is down to the quality of the materials. That's why it's really important to know the materials. And it's not an industry where having the specs out there is something that they take pride in. A lot of them do tell you the specs. Lisa do tell you the specs. Simba do tell you the specs, although I'm not quite sure which website to go by. Some companies tell you nothing. So you really want to know about the mattress. I'm going to get on, do the actual mattress, going to give it a try, take the cover off and explain to you the layers, give you my thoughts on it. And I have been sleeping on it, tell you my experiences. So let's go on with the review. So your Simba mattress, where you get 100 nights trial, which is pretty much standard, 100 nights trial. You can try it for 100 nights. If you don't like it, send it back, but within 100 nights. Don't try it for 100 nights and then a couple of weeks later say, I don't want it. Within that 100 nights, you can return it. Free of charge, they will come and pick it up. It's a bed in a box. Bed in a box meaning it comes in a box like that and it comes vacuum packed. If you've seen the unboxing, you know that it will come vacuum packed and you will cut the plastic and it will expand, allow it to air for 48 hours, although most of these people say after a few hours you can sleep on it. It's good to allow it to 48 hours. They call all these mattresses a no turn. Is that something high-tech and amazing? Not really. It means it's got an integrated base as opposed to some mattresses will come with a standard base that you have to put on. They're designed to go on a certain base. It's all part of the feel of the mattress. So it's a no-turn mattress. That's because it has a firm integrated base. Unless you really want to sleep on that firm base, do not turn it. Normally you would turn a mattress because all mattresses will start taking on the shape of your body. After a while, they will all start softening after a while. And to keep it as fresh as the day you bought it for as long as possible, rotate, turn. But you can't turn these mattresses, but what they do say is rotate, go even further and specifically tell you, try and turn it every 30 days if you can. It will help the longevity of the mattress. Average lifespan of a foam mattress, about 5 years. High quality mattress, maybe 8 years. And that comes down to the materials. However, that's one reason why you can't tell what your mattress is going to be like on day one. A, you've got to get used to it, your muscles, your body has to get used to it. And B, because it will start, they call it settlement. You can actually, some people recommend walking on it for like 5 minutes a day for a few days. It will help the mattress get to its natural feel quicker. So that 30 days, not just for your body to adjust, the mattress will change as well. Simba mattress, really important thing to point out because it's not in the headlines. The headlines is Simbatex microcoils, hidden away in the specifications. It says all our foams are CertiPure certified. That was a surprise to me, not something people seem to be picking up on. Simba is CertiPure certified. That's premium stuff. That is something that should be on your wish list. However, it does say all our foams. One of their foams is Simbatex. It's latex. CertiPure certification is only for polyurethane foams. So I'm not quite sure about that one. However, everybody says Simbatex is synthetic latex. It certainly feels like synthetic latex. I'm sure it's synthetic latex. They wouldn't say it wasn't. However, just bear in mind when they say all our foams except the latex. So they say it's CertiPure certified. That's great. However, it cannot apply to the top layer latex because CertiPure certification doesn't cover latex. There are other certifications for latex, which it doesn't say it covers for that one. So how does it feel? I have to say, the nearest thing I can think of to the Simba of mattresses I've tried is Lisa. They are, for me, softer mattresses. Now, every mattress, somebody will say it's soft and somebody will say it's firm, which is curious to me. However, that's why I can only tell you relatively how these mattresses compare to each other because you may find it firm, I may find it soft, or vice versa. It's really strange. That does seem the way. I've seen people say Simba is soft, is firm. It's certainly on the softest side of mattresses I've tried. Not soft as in I'm sinking right down, as you can see. I'm not sinking that much. However, it does give quite easily. It's a little bit soft for me, but I have lower back issues, so I'm really sensitive to that area. If you don't have lower back issues, you could well find this very comfortable, because I'm not sinking right to the bottom, but there's a definite sinkage, there's a definite hug, although not hugely, but just it's quite subtle. To me, it's the mattress that is more about comfort than about orthopedic support. These are all my opinions, I'm just saying. So I found it, although it's comfortable, as in the Lisa, I just sink in a bit too much at 13 stone, 6 foot, for it to be comfortable on my back. There's not enough support in the lumbar region. I'm giving too much at the hips. There's a little bit too much strain on that area for me, but it's very comfortable to lie on. So very similar in firmness to Lisa. I'll tell you how it compares to the others. My actual testing, about the same softness as the Lisa, a fraction firmer than Lisa, where I would have said the first Simba I had was actually softer. Anyway, having tested this one, to all intents and purposes, the same feel as Lisa, although technically slightly firmer, which places it behind Casper, Bruno, Eve and Otti. My firmest mattresses being Bruno and Eve. So that's relatively how I see the mattress. So that means, given its softness, that means it's good for side sleepers. So you don't get a pushback and pressure on the shoulder area. So I would say, first and foremost, this is a side sleeper's mattress relative to the other mattresses that I've tried. I think it's a little bit soft. A little bit soft for most people for front sleeping. If you are a front sleeper and you're having problems on a Simba, of course, try placing a cushion under your tummy to push your tummy back up, because it's normally because stomach sleeping should have the flattest profile. You don't really want to be sinking in if you're a stomach sleeper and you need to prop up certain areas. Back sleepers, it's fine. That's going to come down to personal preference. It's comfortable, but is there enough support? Will you sink in a little too much at your hips for your lumbar region? So that brings me on to the next bit. If you do sink in, what's it like for spot relief? i.e., does the rest of the foam still fill out the bits that are not sinking in? In other words, if I press down, how much foam is affected? In terms of spot relief, it wasn't the best. It was a bit better than Lisa. Bear in mind, spot relief is not going to be the greatest asset of a soft mattress. By its very nature, more of the foam is going to give because it's softer. You can't just say, this is good for spot relief and that isn't. It's a balance between how much spot relief you get, firmness you want from the mattress, along with the support. So all of it being a balance. However, in terms of pure spot relief, how much of the mattress is affected when you push down with an equal amount of weight? It's slightly better than Lisa. It's slightly worse than Casper and Bruno. A little bit more worse than the Eve. Of course, memory foam mattresses, they're going to be the best for spot relief. That's what memory foam's all about. And all behind Otti, because Otti with memory foam and pocket springs is good for spot relief. But it's going to be firmer. So it's a combination of everything. There's no good saying, well, it's good there, so it's good. You've got to take a balance of everything. Edge support. What do you mean by edge support? When you're sitting on it, when you're putting on your shoes on the very edge. When you roll to the edge, is it going to hold up under your weight, or are you going to almost fall off? I have to say, I found Simba probably around the worst for edge support. That's not a huge surprise. Why do I say that? It's not a huge surprise because it's got pocket springs, albeit very small ones. The downside of pocket springs is they're not good for edge support. So I've got to point out, like most of these pocket springs, it's what they call encapsulated. They don't actually say that on the website, but I'm going to point it out because on their promotion video, it looks like the whole layout is springs. It isn't, it's boxed in. That's very usual with pocket springs. It's called encapsulating the pocket springs, and that's because it's adding reinforcement to the edges. So a bit of foam rather than the springs going right out to the edges. So the springs actually start out like a few centimeters in, and that's the same all around. That's the same with all these pocket springs, mostly. It's done to give you a bit more edge support. However, that is the downside. The edge support is not going to be great. I found it around the worst. I'm not literally, with 13 stone pushing down, I'm not literally on the floor. That's, a good halfway down. And if I do equal amounts of weight, I normally test it with that 40 kilos of weight on all of the edges. It's the worst one I've tested. It's not going to collapse on you, but it's going to be an obvious give when you sit on it. Is that make or break for mattress? It shouldn't be, should it? It would be make or break if you actually rolled on it while sleeping to the edge and that dip was enough to tip you over onto the floor. Well, that's not gonna, I don't think that's gonna happen. That would be quite exceptional, but it's not great. I'm just gonna point that out. Actually, in terms of edge support, I found Eve actually one of the best for edge support. Bruno, not quite as good as I expected, but yeah, all the ones I've had, including Lisa, significantly better than Simba. So again, although Simba, Lisa, some ways very similar feel, a lot of the properties are very different. So when it comes to spot relief, Simba was better, but when it comes to edge support, Lisa was better. Not great for bounce. Probably not a great mattress for sex if you want some bounce, some pushback. That's obviously my personal taste. I've got to say, however, it is one of the things people talk about. It's actually one of the aspects that is part of their marketing. Simba, a mattress for grown-ups. So they actively have tried to promote the idea of other things you do on a mattress other than sleeping. I'm just saying, lack of bounce would be an issue for me. Very little bounce. Very un-latex-like. But maybe not surprising because it's synthetic latex, not natural latex or a blend of natural latex. 16 kilos weight, 32 pounds approximately. Very little bounce in there. Not like, well, I'll tell you who I found best for bounce. Bruno, with its very high density foam layers, but very firm feel, best for bounce. So still maybe not a great match of sex because it's not that great in the comfort stakes. For me, because it's very, very firm. Otti, I have to say, one of the cheapest of the lot. I did find a lot of bounce, good spot relief, maybe, but there's certainly a lot more bounce than here because obviously it's got the pocket springs, so I thought it was better in that area. However, I have to say, the bounce on this, again, similar to Lisa, very little in it. I would say they both have the same bounce, but Lisa and Simba behind all the other mattresses for bounce, if that's a particular area of concern. And of course, that leads on to motion transfer. It's actually one of the better mattresses for motion transfer, which is the flip side of not a lot of bounce, very little motion transfer, you know, not even halfway is that going. That's very good. Probably the best mattress I've tried for motion transfer. So if feeling your partner move is a huge deal, Simba, good mattress for you. Responsiveness seems to be the buzzword for foam mattresses because memory foam came along, it was a huge deal. Wow, it's contouring, but then the problems arose. It's got heat issues, and when you move, the body impression is still there. But by the way, it's called memory foam. It shouldn't be a surprise. However, so now they have non-memory foam, and then they say ours is really responsive, and we've really improved memory foam because it's not memory foam. However, is it responsive? Straight back up, as you would hope with a latex top layer. It's certainly responsive, and of course, micro coils, micro pocket springs under it. Is it responsive? Yes, it's very good. Having said that, it's not retaining your shape, but when I take the cover off, you will see one of the issues with synthetic latex is sticky, like in the memory foam sense. So it won't have a deep impression, but the very top of that synthetic latex will take a little bit longer to come out. So visibly, it doesn't look that responsive, but in all practical terms, apart from those lots of few millimeters, that's responsive. So the cover, it's thin and stretchy and breathable, as they say, with all these mattresses. Actually, I think they say a little bit more. They say hypoallergenic airflow sleep surface provides freshness and temperature control. It sounds great, but look, it's 100% polyester, feels very nice. Something people don't mention, but to me it's very different. The sides is textured. It's a really nice side. I know these are cosmetic things, but that's quite nice. I know they've gone with it, again, the bland grey white top, which some people seem to love. Seems to be what comes out of their marketing, that's what people want. It's not what I want. However, I will say the texturing is something that, you know, people don't talk about, and that's, to me, is a nice design element. However, it is 100% polyester. Now, I'm going to take the cover off, show you the layers in more detail. If you're still with me on this video, because I know my videos are getting longer and longer, but hey, it is what it is. So the point about here, no handles. This advanced high-tech mattress with its special synthetic latex, specially designed by them, as what they say on the website. No handles. I don't know why. It seems a simple thing. It seems to be what they're all going towards. Anyway, it's non-washable in the sense that you can't just take the top off like you can with some of the other mattresses and wash it. In fact, they say you can't wash this at all. It should be spot cleaned. However, I go on some of the geographical websites like Germany. On there it says you can wash there. tops. Now, it could be because a lot of the fire protection comes from the cover, and it could be that because the UK laws, it affects the UK cover more than it matters, say, in Germany, where I think the fire protection is from the fire stocking. So that may be the reason. However, what you think would be the same cover, one country says you can machine wash at 30 degrees, the other country says you can't. It's one piece and it unzips from the bottom. So not that you're going to want to take it off because you can't wash it, but even if you did, it's not very practical. It's one piece, so it's not all going to come away. And you've got to turn the whole mattress over, and if you've got a super king size, good luck with that one. By the way, I do want to point out one of the most useful things I got from Simba. When you get your bed in the box and you unpack it, they will give you this useful safety blade. You cannot damage your mattress using it. I don't know how I ever managed without it. It is really useful, actually. By the way, again, when you get your Simba, it will come with two little plastic clips sealing these two end zips. They told me that if you take your cover off, it voids your warranty because it makes it liable to more damage. Now, that may or may not be the case. Well, they're saying it is, so I assume it is. However, they did replace my first mattress when I said it wasn't as advertised. And they agreed with me at the first time. They said it wasn't advertised. Since then, there's no clarification. However, to point out that I'm going to take it off, but if you do that, they say your warranty is voided. I had a quick look through the warranty. I didn't actually see the specific bit where it says that, but on the phone, that's what the guy told me, because he did ask why I took the cover off. One unusual element about the cover, this fleecy material, which I've not seen before on the sides. It's going to help reinforce it, going to help protect the sides where it rubs. But I don't know if it has any other practical application. As I said, nice and textured. So the nitty gritty, this is what it's all about. Top layer, 4 centimeters, Simbatex, which they say they tried to get the best latex and they couldn't get it, so they decided to make their own, and they called it Simbatex. It's actually synthetic latex. I'm going to point out, synthetic latex has different properties to a natural latex, or a blend of natural and synthetic. It will have a duller feel. It does get likened to memory foam in that sinking, sticky feeling is there, but it's responsive. It kind of takes that fraction of a second more than, say, a polyfoam or a natural latex to come back entirely to shape. So there's a few moments there, but it's not memory foam like in the way it holds your shape, but feels memory foam like. But that's only, if I had the cover on, you wouldn't be saying that. But it's sticky when you put your hands on. It also smells more than natural latex. Now the smell has dissipated. It did stink when I first got it, but now, yeah, it's almost smell free. But again, something you get with synthetic latex. You know, not CertiPure certified. They say all foams. It can't be CertiPure certified because they don't certify latex. Simbatex is synthetic latex. They also say it has soybean oil and natural balm to aid cooling. They say it's their own make, which means they probably have in the pouring and in the additives something that makes it unique. We don't know what it is. However, it's enough for them to be able to call it Simbatex, so it's something that's unique to them. But the properties, as in synthetic latex, are pretty much identical. Everything you'd expect. So it's not a spring-like at all as you would expect from a natural latex. Kind of sticky when you put your hand, but it's responsive. Look, it's coming straight out. It's just that visibly there's a few little indentations that last a fraction of a second, but you wouldn't actually feel that. It's not memory foam like in that sense. You know, it's not going to sleep hot like a memory foam. Now, depending on the qualities of if you're comparing it to a mattress with a polyfoam top layer, because I said it's very similar to Lisa. Lisa has the Venofoam polyfoam top. It's hard to say which one is preferable because depends on the quality, the actual qualities, and being proprietary mixes and makes, it's hard to say exactly what's going on and how they are. But other than they're obviously both decently spec'd, they probably both sleep cool. Lisa has the holes in that top layer, but synthetic latex is going to be, generally speaking, sleep cooler than a normal polyfoam top layer mattress. So it is something to think about if you want to sleep cool. Of course, some people have a latex allergy, but that's to natural latex. So if you're someone who is sensitive to natural latex, you're going to prefer synthetic latex. You know, they talk about latex as being great as in hypoallergenic, but of course you could actually have an allergy to the latex itself. So it's, you know, you've got to bear all these things in mind. So it's 4 centimeters. which is reasonable for your comfort layer. I would like another 2 or 3 centimeters more, but you know, which is what you'd get if you have to add a topper to it. However, some of these mattresses now coming with smaller, like 3 centimeters only in comfort layers. 4 centimeters is enough for you to feel some comfort. As I say, it feels like a soft mattress, even though it's going to have a firm base, although that's not as firm as some of the bases come. But it's cradling, it's cuddling, as some people would say. So under that, the big thing, these are the micro coils. So you can't feel it. If you try to put your hand there, everything collapses, of course. Now, just to show you what I mean by being boxed in. So the pocket coils start here. So you can see they come wrapped like that. And we say conical because it's not like hugely conical shaped. So it's not like an actual ice cream cone where it comes to a point. It's a little bit subtle. It's just enough so that when the springs collapse, it collapses fully. You can fold right in, so the top goes inside of the bottom. And of course, what people do is they say, oh, how can that be doing anything? It's giving straight away. Completely missing the point. These are for comfort. These will add durability to the layer. They will hold up longer than, they will hold the properties longer than a foam material does. If you didn't have them, compared to having them, there's a little bit more bounce. It's not a bouncy mattress, however, it does add some bounce. People do knock them when they look at them without really understanding what they're there for. It's for comfort and a little bit of durability and bounce. Now the point about being encapsulated or boxed in, it doesn't actually start to 14 centimeters inside. So your edge support there, 14 centimeters. So it starts there, and on this side, on the sides, 9.5. So it's basically, the boxing in is that much. So the springs on not the entire layer of the mattress. And I only point that out because on the promo video that they do, it does make it look, they don't show the boxing in. It's not something you would hide because it's done for a reason. It's done to add edge support. Springs aren't great right to the edge of your mattress because it will give you the feeling that you're going to tip off it. So it's a design feature. It's something to tell people about. They don't even say they're encapsulated, but that's what they are. So under that we've got our memory foam, and I can feel it's quite sticky. So you can see the difference there. Although that's still kind of sticky and memory foamish, you can see why people compare synthetic latex and memory foam, which you wouldn't expect in the feel. Now they're not the same when you actually come to sleep on them. There's different things, however. But look, they're still not coming out. So that's a full-on memory foam. Again, that will add to softness and dullness in the mattress. So, you know, you can see why it's quite dull and unbouncy, but good for motion transfer. So it's either 50 kilos per cubic meter or 55 kilos per cubic meter, depending on which website you're going by. However, whatever it is, that's pretty much standard, especially as it's lower down. The lower down the layer, the less the actual density matters, in the sense of it's the top layers that will have the most compression and therefore will soften up the quickest way. These base layers are always around 30 kilos per cubic meter, so like half what you'd want on the top layer. By the way, the top Simba Mattress is 60 kilo per cubic meter. Bear in mind, synthetic latex does weigh less. It is less dense than a natural latex. However, so 60 kilo is at the low end. When I say low end, it's going to be soft feeling. It's a comfort layer. That's what you'd expect. The base layer, you know, not overly firm. Actually, 33 kilos per cubic meter, which is the standard density for your base layer. Point about the base layer, it's castellated. What does castellated mean? It means it has channels cut through it. So you could do that for cooling, but it's also done for zoning. The idea of zoning being that, again, it's tailoring the mattress to have more give in certain areas. I mean, it's not overly high-tech in that it's just less foam there, which means it gives more, there's less support. And that's why density matters, because obviously that's what it's all about. More foam, more support. Quite significant, the difference between pressing where it's not zoned and where it is zoned. It did surprise me that doesn't have the channel cut right in the middle, where you think most people are going to have the hip areas. I guess they've done the research, and that's the other thing, isn't it? They say done in tandem with the Sleep to Live Institute and their database of several million people and what their likes and dislikes. So that's a database where they've taken data points from people, how they lie on a mattress, what they like, what they don't like about a mattress. So everything you could think of, what people will say about a mattress, their likes and dislikes, how that mattress actually contours below them, all the properties, all the gives and everything. That whole database They used that database to design this mattress that fitted with a mattress that most people would have been happy with. So I have to think that, you know, they've done that for a reason then. So they talk about 7 zones because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So they're still counting that as one zone, and they count the areas where nothing's been cut as an area. Notice not only are these the large holes there for zoning, they've also got little ones on the top to give. So it's designed to be a softest mattress. There's no surprise there. Of all the mattresses I've tried, it's one of the softest, along with Lisa. Firmness only has any real meaning if you have a reference point. So my reference point is the mattresses I've tried. If you've seen my reviews, the mattresses I talk about, of those mattresses, Eve, Lisa, Bruno, Otti, Simba. Along with Lisa, they are the softish ones. I wouldn't say they are soft in that sense, but there's more give in them. A little bit, and enough give that it's not great for me as someone who needs more support for my lower back, because I do have lower back issues, and if you don't have lower back issues, it's you know what you want is going to be a bit different. But I do need a firmer one, but it's hard to get it right because my back needs a firmer mattress. I personally prefer a softer mattress, so these are great to lie on for a few seconds, but if I wake up in the morning, I'm going to have a lot of backache. So I've got to get it right. And as I said, I've actually been using a topper, a memory foam topper. I've come to the conclusion that perhaps there is no perfect mattress. You have to fine tune it with the right topper. If I had to use something without a topper, it would have to be one of the firmer mattresses, like Casper, Otti, Eve, just too firm, and Bruno also too firm. So for me, my choices without a topper would be Otti or Casper of the mattresses I've tried. They talk about newtons when you look at the specifications on their website. 60 newtons measured for the memory foam, 140 newtons for the bottom. What is newtons? Well, we're in the USA, you've probably seen when you look at reviews, they talk about the ILD. So there they measure it in a different way. Here they talk about newtons. I mean, they're all measuring the same thing. You put some pressure on, you put some weight equivalent on the mattress, and you see how much it takes to compress a certain area, you know, of a standard size. And some of them are 25%, some of them to 40%. It's important to know that they're measured different depending on the country that you are and what they're actually measuring. So in terms of what they've actually put on there, 60 newtons for the memory foam would make it on the softer side, 140 newtons, and then no surprise would put the base on the firmer side, but they certainly come firmer. When they measure these mattresses, they actually have a newton for the whole mattress, which would be quite useful to know, but they don't really publish that. You can't underestimate how much the covers, and if you use a protective pad, as most of us do, I do, you can't underestimate how much it affects the feel of the mattress. Whatever you've got, it does affect the mattress, and I'm only saying that because I'm lying on this one, on the Simba, and on your Simba Tex with no cover on at all, and it's significantly different than when having the cover on. I quite like it because it's even softer. It's actually a little bit more contouring. I can feel it a little bit more, you know, albeit subtle, in my lumbar region. But it is something I've noticed before, that, you know, the more covers, the more protective padding you pile on top of the actual layers, as well as the actual cover that comes with it, it changes the feel of the mattress. I actually quite like it without cover on. However, just to point out prices. Now, of course, it's almost impossible to compare prices because they all have different deals. They all have money off, normally between £50 and £100. Some of them are in your face, and some of them, like Casper, it's hard, you've got to go through a link. I can only compare them by retail prices, assuming that the actual deals will, at the end of the day, be about the same. So if I add up all the prices for all the different size mattresses that they do, and I average it out of the mattresses that I tried, of course you could buy a Tempur mattress for £3,000 and this would be like absolute bargain. But of the mattresses I've tried, which are similar because they're online marketing and all trying to compete with each other at around the same price level, Simba is the more expensive, but it's quite subtle. Simba, it's an average of £620, whereas the cheapest Otti average £516, and the others are all around £580, £540. So there's not a lot in it. It's not a deal breaker, is it, at this budget level? And that's the thing to remember, it's budget level. And how do I know that? Well, I know even, you know, Simba has still got that label on saying one perfect mattress, but they're all coming out with different mattresses. So Simba now have a luxury mattress. So they now have 2 mattresses. So they have this mattress and a high-end one. There's about 4 times the price of this one. I don't know how long they can keep saying one perfect mattress when there clearly isn't. Why would you buy the luxury one if there's one perfect mattress? At the end of the day, one of the things they won't tell you is that better materials means longer life out of the mattress, So over time, that will make the price differential less because you would have had to rebuy the other mattress before that. So it's hard. You can't just compare mattresses. As I said, like the Temper, you know, £3 for these top end mattresses or more, depending on what size you're getting. But if they're lasting 3 times as long, I'm not saying it will, but I'm saying that's what you're paying for partly, and that's something you can't lie on and say, oh yeah, that's £3 worth. Because if you've had a Temper and in the meantime someone with another mattress has had to buy it three of them, suddenly the price difference isn't that much. So materials is so important, and Temper are one of those companies that do not publish. You've got to take a guess at what their actual densities are. Having said that, if you actually look at the weights, you can see they're like 50% heavier than on most of these type of mattresses, which tells you, you know, you're buying something with quality, but you are paying for the name as well. That's the prices. I was just falling asleep because it's so nice without the cover. I really like the feel of it like this. I did look on Amazon just for a laugh. No more. It's not very scientific. However, I was looking at the reviews. Simba actually have some of the best reviews on Amazon. 94% 5-star, 2% 1-star. Compare that to, say, Lisa, it's 86% 5-star, 3% 1-star. Casper, 80% 5-star, 8% 1-star. So on a quick look on Amazon, completely scientific, has no real meaning, but on that basis, it's one of the most liked mattresses, least complained about. I think I've covered everything. I don't know if anyone is still watching. I'm just trying to put everything out there. I just want people to have the full information. So anyway, I hope you've managed to last this long, and thank you for watching.
UK